Hi, this is Achim. Today was finally the third episode of the Search for the Wreck of the Thestis. And before I start with the episode, please click the like button and share my content. Alright, if you saw episode number 1, 2 and 2.5, then you know how the story goes. If you haven't seen it yet, please check the channel. I put 2 links in the description of the previous videos so you can look at these and follow up with the story. We know the journey of Bjarne, we know where he started, how his journey went, that things started to get a little bit strange in the end, and we know that he ended up dying on the island of Pianosa in his lifeboat, or after his lifeboat was swept ashore. And so that's the story we have so far. And so what does that mean for us as the explorers, that we want to try to find this ship and that we want to research this story? Well, the most logic thing is, first of all, to get a proper idea, where did this ship sink roughly, and what's the information we need for that. So we know the wreck sank somewhere around Pianosa, otherwise that boat would have not been washed ashore on the island, and we know it washed ashore on the east side of the island. So we know that between the morning of the 19th and sometime on the 22nd the vessel sank and the lifeboat was washed ashore at Pianosa. Considering the fact that the sailor was in a super bad shape and he died the next day, we can assume that he was not in the boat for too long, because otherwise he would probably have passed away already in that lifeboat. So is that enough to go and search for the wreck? No, it's not. So what else do we have on information? We know that he started in Bastia, and we know that the distance between Bastia and Pianosa is 50 kilometers. So as the lifeboat was washed ashore on the east coast of Pianosa and Bastia on the west side of the island, we know that he covered for sure more than 50 kilometers before the vessel sank. So if you estimate a speed of about 6 knots for travel, that means that he could have not been in trouble before midday afternoon of the 20th. So now my next step was obviously to go to Pianosa. So all the information I had, I kind of summed up, and it still did not give me enough clues or enough evidence to say, okay, that's an area where I'm gonna search. So east of Pianosa is a couple of 100 or 1,000 square miles of water, and even if you take the timing into account, it's still ridiculous amounts of water. I mean, where would you start? And there's some really deep stuff there as well. So we can easily reach 500, 600, 700 meters, and yeah, then obviously it doesn't make any sense. So I went to Pianosa, and I told you before, I'm frequently in the area. I know a couple of people, I've good contacts, so I was not just going as a visitor. I met somebody there from the authorities, and they guided me along and helped me to get access to archives, etc., which was super helpful. And in case you're watching this, thank you very much again for all your patience and your hospitality there. It was awesome. And so unfortunately we could not find the grave anymore. We know that Bjarne is buried there, but it looks like when they rebuilt the new prison and then broke down the new prison, and over the years that grave kind of got lost. And that's a bit of a pity. That would have been awesome. But at least, and I quickly showed it in one of the other videos, I received that drawing that is a portrait of Bjarne, which I put right here. So I only got a copy of that from a scan and then scanned it again as well. It's not the best quality, but hey, we have a face for our main person, which I think is awesome. Also the contact with the family. And that also brings me to the logbook. If you watch episode 2.5, you realize that I want to send this back to his family. and I still haven't been there. I think I mentioned it in one of the other videos. My family is COVID positive. I'm negative, but I'm kind of isolated and things are a little bit messy at the moment, so I simply didn't pick it up yet. But I'm hopefully able to do that as soon as my family's out of quarantine. They're all fine, and things go back a little bit more to normal, and yeah, I can go there. Anyway, so I went to Pianosa and I started to look into their archives on guard reports, etc., because I wanted to find the report from the person that actually found the lifeboat and what he stated in detail. And I found that, and that was not super interesting. That didn't reveal anything we did not know yet. He said it was a severely burned lifeboat with a person that had severe burns and was unconscious, and there was this one box with some personal belongings and that logbook. So yeah, we have to accept it like that. If there was anything else on that boat, maybe that guard took possession of it. We don't know. That's all speculation. So we want to stay to the facts. So that didn't reveal anything. But when I looked around in these reports, I found something else. In these archives is a report that in the night from the 20th to the 21st of November at around 9 p.m., a guard of the colony saw a flickering light from a fire behind the horizon, and without being able to see the fire itself or its source. So it was visible for around 1 hour, and then it disappeared. The guard noted exactly where he was standing. It's a place called Punta Brigantina, and he was looking northeast, and the light was visible in one line with this kind of a cliff or a half peninsula that goes out there to the sea. I'll show you that in a second on a map. And that was on his left, and he could just see it when he was like looking along this cliff, and it was like going on and off from this cliff. So the average person can see around 5 kilometers till an object is behind the horizon. So that guard was on a beach, so he was on sea level, and the fire was definitely further away than 5 kilometers because he could not see it. He states he saw a flickering light of a fire, but no fire, which means it was further away than 5 kilometers, otherwise he would have seen the fire, right? Estimating the height of a burning vessel was 10-15 meters. This means it was around 20 kilometers from the island, or a minimum of 20 kilometers from the island. And so that's awesome, because that gives us a second hint. Now we do not only have like this line of vision from that guard, which gives us a line, okay, somewhere along that line the ship sank most probably, but it also gives us a rough estimation of a distance. So not closer than 20 and probably not that much further, as a lot of estimation, right? I mean, 10-15 meters, how high go the flames, what did burn, etc., etc., etc. But if we assume that the flickering light of that this guard saw was the burning vessel of Bjarne, which kind of makes sense because, I mean, the timing's correct. It washed ashore then, it was burned. Yeah, it makes sense. So that gives us a little bit more of an area to search for. And yeah, is it enough to start the boat and go there with a sonar? Yeah, no, not really. Still, I mean, it could still drift, it could, whatever. I mean, that would be playing the lottery, and that's not a professional way of doing it. All right, let me just visualize that a little bit for you, what I just explained. So this is the island of Pianosa, and this is where our lifeboat was found. And here we have Punta Brigantina, and here I may introduce you to our guard. So he said he was looking northeast and he was like peering along this cliff. So that means we can draw a line along that cliff, and somewhere along that line is where the vessel was burning. So now we also said that if you have the curving of the Earth like this, then our God, we make another God for you, that he can look a maximum of 5 kilometers before objects disappear behind the horizon, right? So if that's his vision, then that's around 5 kilometers. So everything else he can't see. So now if we say we had this burning vessel, sorry, I have no cameraman today, so it's a bit of a hassle. So if you say our vessel was there, let's make a nice sailing vessel there, and it was burning and he could not see the fire. So here's our flames. So he saw the light, but he did not see the flames. So we can say it's definitely, and we estimated the height of the vessel was 10 to 15 meters, plus the flames that, I mean, maybe the mast was engulfed in flames or whatever. So he could not see it. So this is how we came up with this distance, right? So the vessel should be definitely, like, let's say this is, I don't know, 5 kilometers. And so it must be somewhere between here and, let's say this is 20 kilometers. So it was definitely beyond that. And we think it was roughly in that direction, because otherwise he would have probably seen the fire itself. So just so you get a little bit of a picture on what I was explaining before. So I started to search for more. I didn't find anything, so I put it away. And a year later, I stumbled across another report, accidentally, actually looking for something completely different, and that was the game changer. That was the key that opened up this project. I talked about that before. I mean, you have this project and they are all dead ends. So at that point, that where you are right now, from what I shared with you, it was a dead end. I knew, there's a wreck somewhere there, and I have a rough idea of an area, but it's not enough to really search, especially as it's a small vessel. I mean, if you look for the Britannic, it's a different sonar target. It's probably more worth it. But for a vessel that size, that's not going to happen. So, and then came this puzzle piece, that key that opened it up into like, hey, now we talk. And that was a report from a captain of a steamship called Olga that was sailing from Calvi to Ostia, that reports a debris field in a with burned wood and no sign of life in the following position: 40 degrees, 28 minutes, 10 degrees, 17 minutes, in case you want to look that up. And he reports average waves and a fresh breeze from the north. Time of the sighting was about half an hour past midnight on the 21st of November. So we said the vessel sank around 9, right? The debris field was spotted around half an hour past midnight. So 27.5 hours later. A fresh breeze is defined 5 before. That's between 29 and 38 kilometers of wind per hour. Wind speed. So wind speed is approximately water speed. So the movement of the water caused by the wind is about 2% of the wind speed. So we can assume that a maximum drift of 21 kilometers, according to 30 kilometers times 2% times 27.5 hours, it's 21 kilometers. That's good enough to have a rough estimation and go back to the drawing board and draw a couple of lines. So let's draw a couple of lines. So we have the captain of the Olga who spotted a debris field, and we say we estimate it drifted 21 kilometers. So we draw a line up, and guess what? At 21 kilometers, it crosses, roughly 21 kilometers, it crosses the line that we made from our little guard where he was seeing the fire. So now we have a wreck site. So we know that somewhere in that area the wreck should have sunk. So now that was that puzzle piece that we've been missing, and now it's worth looking for it. So if we draw a line north from that position, we cross the line that we have based on the report of the guard, and now we have a wreck site. See how that works? So now we have a wreck site, now we have a cross on a map where we say, like, that's where we think that vessel sank. So that gives us a search area, and that makes it reasonable to go looking for it. Fire up the engine, start the sonar. No, there's way more before we can do that, and that I'll cover in my episode number 4. So again, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and please share. I know I'm repeating myself, and I said that a couple of times. It's about 40,000 people following this underwater endeavor that I'm doing, and when I see that my cold water recommendation video gets 5 times the amount of hits in a day than this in a week, then please share it. Please share it. You really help me. This crowdfunding thing did not really work because people don't share the content. So if you want to support me and you cannot support through the GoFundMe, please share it in your social media. You're really gonna help me, and I'll stick to my word. I'll actually go through this entire expedition, and I'll cover every single aspect of it as I promised for those people that really helped me. But it's most probably the last one. So I think I will do the next 7 wrecks that I still have in line behind the curtains again, because the amount of work this takes to bring all of this up doesn't really match the output. And that doesn't mean that, hey, I'm not making money from that. I'm not making money anyway, but also like the refinancing and everything doesn't work at all. It was a concept, I tried it. I really appreciate the support that I received, and obviously I will stick to my word, as I said, and share this with you guys to fulfill my word, which I always do, but most probably I'm not gonna do another one. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and next week we'll have a look at episode 4. Take care.